Welcome to S.O.D Talk, and I'm your host, Odaris DeHady. This video will be expanding on the ideology of the Miami Dolphins defense and their scheme and how I believe a less talented secondary will be a top 10 defense in 2025. Due in large part to Miami's front seven and three pressure players, Bradley Chubb, Jalen Phillips, and Chop Robinson. During this study, these players will not be used directly as two of the three were injured. However, I will be using plays from Miami's primetime victory versus the explosive LA Rams. This game is an example and highlights the benefits of pressure on an entire defense. And without further ado, let the show begin. So what we have here, we have the Miami Dolphins playing a man coverage against the 11 personnel of the Rams. We do get a man indicator with the motion moving Kader Kohu across. At the point of the attack of this bunch formation in the flip slot, we do have our linebacker pressing the point, also giving man indicators along with the man motion from Kader Kohu. However, what's amazing about this particular play once it starts to happen, as each player goes into man, we have one of our safeties roll down into a robber roll. However, when we get to the apex of the route where it meets the hook player, we have a switch that happens between the middle linebacker Walker and Holland, the safety who was playing the hook player. Once this happens, they switch responsibilities, and Holland turns into a man player on that particular player, and Walker becomes a new hook player. This leads to an interception because of Stafford's inability to step into the pocket, throw the ball with more time, as the twist from the defensive tackle 3 technique and nose forces pressure up the middle and forcing the ball to be released early. At this point in the play, you can see our robber in the middle of the field in Holland and our linebacker running, and you can see him switch it, turn his back, and take responsibility of that robber where Holland turns his hips and run and turn into man. Because of the pressure, Stafford doesn't have a chance to get off of that read and has to throw the ball to a preconceived receiver thinking that he will win in the man coverage one-on-one in breaking route. On the next play that I'm showing you here, we get motion across, but we don't have a corner that moves along with them, showing us a zone indicator. Now at this freeze screen, you can see that it looks like we have a single high safety in this particular situation, giving us either a cover 3 or cover 6 pre-snap. When the ball is snapped, we will rotate into a cover 6 zone, giving us cover 3 principles at the bottom and cover 2 principles at the top of the screen. However, Stafford never gets a chance to even read the coverage as he is immediately pressured. ET stunt from Chop Robertson. He was actually crashing down onto the guard to open up the looping tackle, but because of his ability to create pressure in his first step, he ends up getting the sack by beating both players and getting to the quarterback. These are just some of the examples to show how dramatic pressure can change an entire defense. The coverage almost did not matter, just enough to make sure that the early throws are not open. As you continue to see some of the other plays that were placed onto the film from that game, you can see almost all of these throws are under 10 yards, and it's all because pressure is being put onto the quarterback from the front 7 rushers. I would say 7 because they like to bring backers as well, and it forces the balls to come out short, forces defenses to knock offenses off schedule, and giving them the opportunity to be an effective defense and be in third down situations. And especially when you get into a red zone, now you get an even better chance because now the ball is only can be thrown into tight windows. This is the key to what's going to make Miami Dolphins a better defensive team. Dare I say it, a top 10 unit in the NFL. The need for corners has dramatically fallen off with the variation between coverages that can be played. But if you have a front 7 that can only has to bring 3 to 4 individuals and consistently get pressure, you almost always see these units as the top defenses in the NFL. As Teron Armstead had said in his own podcast, the big boys up front are the ones that causes the game to go. It is my belief that the Miami Dolphins unit will be a top 10 defense if Bradley Chubb, Jalen Phillips, and Chop Robinson, along with Sealer and the other simulated pressure players, can get to quarterbacks and force pressure throws in pressure situations during first, second, and third down.
the expectations we have for that front seven, yeah, they're high, and rightfully so.
Starting with Storm, what's he shown you that's allowed him to take a step and
Yeah.
be in contention to potentially be a starter?
Storm's consistency has been his biggest strength this offseason.
Times, the splash plays can be a result of a variety of things, and you can have a stretch where you played really good ball but didn't necessarily make a splash play.
It seems like there's been an emphasis on the line of scrimmage, both through the draft and free agency. James Daniels, Martin Sealer up, the draftees. What have you seen from those trench battles out here, and how is that going to help you in the regular season?
Yeah, I think I tell our guys all the time, like, as a coach, when I came up in coaching, everybody says the game starts up front. You never hear anybody say the game starts in the back, right? Whether you're playing Little League, whatever you're doing. And I think that it's simple, but it's cliche, but that's just the way I look.
Everybody's favorite topic, which is the quarterback.
Yeah.
We see the unit out there. They're holding their own. Obviously, you're leaving a lot on the front seven. But can you hold up for an entire season playing zone with the talent that you have there?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a tremendous amount of faith in who we have playing out there right now.